traveling and commercial disclosing private passenger information on TikTok, no less. But American Airlines' directives on passenger identities is ironclad. So unless this was carefully planned and confirmed as a PR stunt, the flight attendant in question 100% knows she's getting fired.
So we're really meant to believe Meghan Markle just randomly boarded a regular commercial flight, abandoned her usual luxury jet lifestyle, handed out handwritten notes like she was starring in a feel-good holiday film, and blended in like your average passenger? That's the story Page 6 tried to sell us. And let's be honest, it's leaking credibility faster than a broken faucet. The supposed fairy tale encounter? Completely unraveling. The flight attendant who was originally quoted raving about this magical Markle moment is now backtracking, admitting she never even laid eyes on Meghan during the flight. Yes, you heard that right. Let's unpack this before we all lose brain cells. At first, the piece painted Meghan as the graceful Duchess taking the humble route, flying coach, complimenting manicures, leaving heartfelt thank you notes for the crew. The whole narrative read like it came straight from the desk of a royal-obsessed PR assistant who just finished binge-watching The Crown. The setup wasn't even subtle. It practically screamed publicity stunt. And then came the twist. The very flight attendant quoted in the viral story has reportedly told a French outlet that, wait for it, she never actually saw Meghan on board. So what gives? Why would someone fabricate such a picture-perfect story? Speculation is ramping up. Some believe the attendant may have been nudged into playing along. And here's where things start to feel eerie. Rumors suggest Meghan herself might have been behind this little PR play. If that's true, it would mean she literally gave a handwritten note to someone and said, in essence, "Please tell the world how kind and relatable I am." That's not just odd, that's next-level Diana cosplay. And yes, we're talking about that Diana, the princess known for her iconic personal thank you notes, a gesture that endeared her to the world. Now Meghan appears to be mimicking that exact move. From the letters to the fashion choices, the charity photo ops, and now a mysterious plane moment. It's like she's rehearsing for a Princess Diana biopic. But here's the biggest red flag. No one actually saw her. No passenger selfies, no blurry fan footage, no surprise airport snaps, nothing. And this is Meghan Markle we're talking about. The same woman who was somehow caught by paparazzi at an obscure dog shelter. Now she's suddenly invisible while flying coach? Make it make sense. She's not exactly living a low-key life, no matter how hard her team tries to rebrand her as the humble, misunderstood Duchess. Let's be real, if Meghan Markle had actually stepped onto that commercial flight, someone would have snapped a photo. That's just the digital age we live in. And here's the cherry on top of the absurdity sundae. Page 6 used an old photo from 2016 to support their fairy tale. That's right, they threw in a random shot of Meghan deplaning nearly a decade ago and didn't even bother to add a caption or context. No disclaimer, no mention it was dated. Just quietly inserted like no one would notice. But the internet did notice, and now people are calling them out hard. Accusations of media manipulation and flat-out gaslighting are flying across social platforms. This isn't just a slip-up, it's classic media misdirection, and audiences aren't buying it anymore. Which raises the real question, why? Why put so much effort into such a flimsy, transparent narrative? If this was meant to be a PR win, it blew up in the worst way. And honestly, it's kind of humiliating. But believe it or not, this is just the beginning. Because the deeper you dig into this flight tale, the stranger it gets. Let's talk logistics. Forget the recycled photo or lack of actual pictures. How are we supposed to believe Meghan Markle, a public figure who's notoriously obsessed with privacy and security, boarded a flight completely alone? No security detail, no assistant, no glam squad, just her and a couple of sentimental notes like she's backpacking through Europe. Since when does someone that famous fly out of New York solo without a single passenger capturing a grainy image? No shaky video, no blurry selfie, nothing. If it happened, it would have been front page news, splashed across every tabloid with 10 different angles. Instead, all we got was one now silent flight attendant who, according to French sources, is quietly backpedaling every word. She's reportedly admitted to close contacts that she never even saw Meghan on board. And now, she regrets ever getting involved. Maybe she didn't expect internet sleuths to dissect her story like it was a true crime case, screenshot by screenshot. But what's wild is that Page 6 didn't seem to care. They published it anyway, headline blazing like they just captured a royal miracle. Meghan's handwritten note goes viral, they claimed. Viral where exactly? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok? Because not one of us actually saw it. There's no photo of the handwritten note, not one picture of Meghan at the gate, going through TSA, or even casually sitting on the plane. Nothing. And you expect us to believe that Meghan Markle, the same woman who meticulously choreographed her royal wedding, wouldn't make sure her humble commercial flight included at least one camera-ready moment? Let's not forget, this is the same person who's been caught tipping off paparazzi about her own location while pretending to be spontaneously spotted. There's a long history of carefully staged moments passed off as organic. Remember those photos of Meghan being chased by paparazzi in New York, only for it to come out later that her team had alerted those same photographers ahead of time? This isn't new behavior. It's a recycled PR playbook, and this latest "look how relatable she is" flight story feels like it was copied straight from a 2018 press release. The whole humble Duchess flies with the people trope has been done, and done. The only new twist this time? That cringeworthy moment when a flight attendant couldn't even pronounce Duchess of Sussex correctly. That clip made its way around the internet fast, and instead of painting Meghan in a flattering light, it became meme material. The attendant nervously stammered, calling her the Queen. No, wait, Princess? No, Duchess. Guessing like they were on a game show. Then came the awkward nail compliment, which, let's be honest, made no sense. If this person were a real flight attendant, they'd know that long nails are against airline grooming and safety regulations. Flight crews deal with emergency doors, hot meals, and serious protocols. Not spa day admiration. But in this fantasy, everyone's too dazzled by Meghan's manicure to worry about emergency exits. And then there's the timing. Why now? Let's be honest. Meghan's been missing from positive headlines. Her podcast fizzled out. Her Netflix projects have stalled. Public opinion? Icy at best. So right on cue, we get a syrupy story about how she ditched private jets for a dose of humility. It's PR 101. Image rehab right when she needs it most. But this one's sloppier than usual. No evidence, no eyewitness photos. Just a shaky story, a quote from someone who's now retracting it, and a stock image from nearly a decade ago. And that's where the whole narrative starts to collapse. Because if this flight really happened recently, then why did Page 6, a tabloid with access to near-instant paparazzi shots, use an old photo from 2016? A completely unrelated image showing Meghan being escorted by security at a different airport from a different era of her life. That's not just lazy reporting. That's calculated misdirection. Even worse, the photo ran without any context, no date, no caption clarifying it wasn't from this alleged flight. It was slipped in like no one would notice. But readers did notice, and now the internet is calling it out. Once the internet caught wind of this, the real questions started pouring in. If Meghan Markle actually flew commercial, where are the witnesses? We're not talking about some random traveler here. This is Meghan. She's one of the most recognized women in the world. There would have been airport staff, passengers, maybe even TSA agents who spotted her. Someone would have shared a blurry snap, a quick TikTok, something. But instead, total silence. Not a single verified sighting, just one woman's shaky statement. And now she's already backing away from it. Which brings us to the bigger issue. What was the goal here? Meghan's no amateur, and her team definitely knows how the media game works. They understand how fast a feel-good headline spreads, and how little people care to fact-check once it's viral. That's likely the entire strategy. Drop a charming little story. Meghan Markle flies coach like the rest of us. Let the public swoon. And even if it gets debunked later, the narrative has already done its job. Most people won't follow the corrections. They'll just remember the first impression. But that kind of trick only works if the illusion holds. And this one shattered instantly. The timeline didn't make sense. The witness retracted her claim. And now, even Meghan's usual defenders are starting to question things. It's not just skeptics anymore. Longtime supporters are raising eyebrows. Why does every move she makes feel so choreographed? Why does something as simple as a plane ride need to become a full-blown moral message? It's like even breathing has to be branded. And then comes the strangest twist. The very article that tried to show Meghan as a humble traveler suddenly threw Prince Harry under the bus. Where was he? If she was flying alone, why no mention of him at all? It almost felt like the story was written on purpose to create separation. And with rumors swirling about Harry spending more time in another city, about growing emotional distance, this narrative conveniently fits. Her solo image strengthens, while his presence fades. But let's not forget the kids. In a past interview, Meghan casually mentioned reading bedtime stories to them via email. Email? That's not just strange. It's deeply impersonal, especially coming from a mom who's trying to sell the image of a hands-on, loving parent. And if Meghan's constantly traveling and Harry's reportedly living elsewhere part-time, then who's actually with the children? That awkward moment during her Drew Barrymore interview, when she stumbled over who the kids were with and said, "Whoever's with them," felt like the one unscripted slip in an otherwise tightly polished performance. And it raised a lot of eyebrows, because at this point, it's not just about a questionable flight. It's about the cracks showing in the entire story. The flight, the family, the marriage, the motherhood. It's all being carefully crafted for public consumption, but the polish is wearing off. People are starting to see through it. The forced wholesomeness, the recycled PR stunts, the lack of real authenticity. Whatever image Meghan is trying to push, it's no longer landing. If anything, it's backfiring. And fast. The public's growing tired. And no amount of handwritten notes or phantom flights is going to cover that up. Do you think this was a staged PR stunt or just bad reporting? Drop your thoughts below. We're reading every comment,